We are tubing.
We are live and on the air on YouTube and Twitch. Welcome everyone to the Foolish Tech Show. It is Thursday afternoon and we're mainly here to provide support, answer any questions about our products and services. Got an IRC chat right down there that you can go join at foolishtechshow.com. Got a couple ways you can join in on the festivities, and feel free to interrupt us with whatever we may be talking about to focus on our stuff instead. So, we got a lot of stuff.
Do you?
Stuffs.
I like stuff.
Well, unfortunate news first. Stephen Hawking has passed. So we won't have any more great news about black holes or things like that until someone else comes along. Okay.
I'll confirm. Actually, I didn't want to belch on the confirmation of the audio.
It's weird, Proctor. Proctor, you say you muted, but I hear your keyboard and mouse.
I don't. Is he talking?
No, on the stream. Oh, from last time on the stream, he was going through his outside mic.
Yeah, yeah.
I wonder if that's still the case. Proctor, type something.
He's not listening. But he's typing. Is that you? No, that's you.
Yeah, that's me.
Gosh.
It's really weird listening to you and the delay at the same time through the videos.
Because of your keyboard?
No, well, both.
Yeah, yeah. It's like clack, 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 clack. What? 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 You saying something?
What's up?
Is this thing on?
Your mic on the stream is going through the mic you're using. Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, I got you.
So it's going through whatever external mic you're using, and we can hear all your typing.
Oh, good thing I didn't say any bad words.
Yeah.
Which is amazing.
All right, shit good now, yeah.
Considering you're doing taxes.
Yeah, no joke. I'm sure I was close to one.
All right. Well, let's try again. Some interesting news. Apparently, YouTube thinks it's going to battle misleading videos with Wikipedia articles injection. And what's really fun about that is apparently Wikipedia had no idea this was going to happen. Hey, Shoot, Whiskers. Sorry about the technical difficulties there for a second.
I'm sorry, I was still laughing over that you said Google was going to combat misinformation with Wikipedia.
Yeah, yeah. Out of all the people there, they decided Wikipedia was their best option.
Yeah, that's fine.
Oh, geez. And they didn't tell them it. So I think they probably got this idea because most of their snippets that they use for like those Google search result highlight box things a lot of those are Wikipedia articles. And they were like, hey, we're doing this already. Let's just put it on YouTube.
Mm,
That'll battle misinformation.
that's cute.
And definitely won't be used notoriously, which Wikipedia has been known to do if something gets super popular.
Yes.
What
day is today? Oh, yeah. Never mind.
Thursday?
Yeah.
Still Thursday. So we talked about Let's Encrypt earlier. Apparently now they do offer wildcard SSL certificates. This is through Acme V2 API.
Acme?
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's supreme.
And I think that's that third-party one I was saying you have to use to get it to work on Windows. But maybe it's an API third-party thing. I don't know.
Here. What?
But yeah, they do have it so that you can get wildcard ones now.
Well, neat.
I would assume that it still expires every 30 days or every 90 days. So you'd still have to continuously renew it.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, if you renew it every 30 days instead of every 3 years, that's fine, I guess.
That's great, he says.
Awesome. They, I think the renewing it is to combat the possible malicious things, because if you get control of a domain for a short period and you're able to verify that you own the domain and get a certificate, then that certificate at least would only be valid for 30 months or 90 months.
It says he's got a cron job for the renewals. That
Yeah,
works. Okay,
that's what they suggest on they suggest that you have SSH access to your server, and it'd be a Linux server, so you can just automate it. But on Windows, I think you have to use some software, and then I didn't get to the point if you could automate it or not.
So you're saying, I'm just to back up a second. So you're gonna on Windows, you're gonna automate the renewal of something that could be taken over maliciously temporarily. Is that what?
No.
You're renewing it so fast.
So no, if I took over, let's say, Google and had access to Google's site, but obviously I would only have that for a short period of time, right? They would track me down and regain access.
Right.
If I had it for that short period of time and I got a certificate that said I was Google, so I had now a Google valid SSL certificate, then I could create other websites and show that it has Google. I could create phishing sites that say it has Google's SSL, but that would only be valid for 3 months, and then it would not be. Whereas I would then have to take over Google again to be able to verify that I own Google.com. That kind of malicious attack. Obviously, Google is probably not going to be taken over, but you know, like you'd have to prove that you have access to the place every time.
Never mind. Never mind. I don't see it lasting long. I don't see it lasting long again. Yeah.
Man, it's lasted over a year now, at least, and it's backed by people that build the web. So,
of course, those people. Al Gore, right? Is he on that team?
No, he's the one that's in control of climate change.
Oh, okay.
He decides.
I thought he built
if there's
web
climate
too.
change or not.
So he's washed his hands of the web now.
He might think you built the web, but
Uh,
he's only one that he only deals with climate change. So I know.
okay. Okay.
You can update your Fire TV. Oh yeah, Wesker.
I don't want to.
I wonder if Windows could do the Linux subsystem style.
Maybe that's the special software.
Yeah. So, no, it wasn't. It was a Windows exe program that did it. But you might want to update your Fire TV. I thought you enjoyed having Firefox on there.
I do. Why?
You can now update to Firefox 59.
Why? It works right now. They haven't broken it yet.
Oh, well, they might. Maybe they'll force this update on you.
Oh, yay. That'll be neat.
Well, speaking of people taking over things, have you noticed any of these plus codes in Google Maps? I noticed it a weekend or two ago. Didn't think much about it, but apparently Google's come out with an open source 10-character address code. So you can use 10 characters to locate anywhere in the world. And they call them plus codes. And the first 4 digits are the area code. The last 6 digits are the local code. And it's supposed to have accuracy down to 3 by 3 meters.
I didn't even look at the Mario Kart on Maps the other day, and I kept getting notified about it. I don't. That requires me to use the phone.
Well, that would require you to go somewhere too, because you have to use navigation.
Okay, well, see, I didn't even read about it. So
Yeah.
there, I didn't even read about it. I was like, I saw that there was an article. Okay.
That was cute, but I mean, could be interesting if it gets taken on. GPS addresses are extremely difficult to type in and remember.
That's true.
So
That's true.
10 digits would be much better than like the 18 or 16 digits it is for GPS. Although I think GPS is still more accurate than 3 by 3 meters, but it's good for addresses and places that might not have addresses. I highly doubt we'll be changing our mailboxes anytime soon.
Hey, what? Oh, preparing to shut down.
What's preparing to shut down?
Oh, my D7X test.
Oh.
I was like, wait, I was. Oh, never mind. Oh. That's why it's not responsive.
So, you remember Microsoft added a requirement that a registry key be added so that you could continue getting Windows updates on 7, 8, 10? Well, they've backtracked on that. Apparently just having a registry key was not enough, and they decided it was not a good idea.
Wait, what?
So
on XP? What? That wasn't a...
No, 7, 8, and 10. A registry key for getting updates.
I apparently still get them. What?
It's only if you have an antivirus that is flagged incompatible with Meltdown or Spectre patches.
Oh, yeah. Well, if I did, I could only blame Microsoft if I did.
Yeah. So if you're just using Windows Defender built in on 10, you're fine. But other antiviruses needed a registry key, and we talked about how ridiculous it was to have a registry key check, since anyone can just add that and be fine.
Well, yeah, okay. Actually, well, with all of the registry keys you have to not worry about the updates for the things, you can enable, you can disable, you can do disable, enable patch 2 after it's installed. You can stop the patch, a little batch file I made the other day with all that junk in it. Although I don't know. I just kind of feel like it'll just happen, and I've got backups.
For controlling Windows updates.
For controlling for all the registry keys for the Spectra patch. Yeah. Of course, I think I got everything from, I can't remember if it was Microsoft or Intel site, but I don't know. It seems like they were at odds.
Yeah,
I really haven't been keeping up.
Too.
I really haven't been keeping up with it. So
it's been hard to keep up with. Intel came out with a somewhat patch and pushed it out to Microsoft, and then Microsoft or people realized that it was a half-assed patch, so Microsoft pulled it, and Microsoft put in its own patch, and then they're still getting updates from Intel, and this is almost 2 months later now.
Well, who pushed Intel to do it in the first place so quick?
Nobody. Intel knew about it for almost 6 months before they announced it to people.
Oh.
So they took their sweet time telling people.
Oh, cool. I did happen to notice that I have an affected chipset when I was on there. I have like a chipset that they would deploy a patch for or something, but they never did. I don't have it, so.
It might go through your BIOS too.
Well, and it was supposed to, and then Asus was like, no, we're not doing that.
We're not doing those.
Yeah, and so that's why but I was updating stuff the other day, and I was like, just in case, as far as the Windows Update thing too, I was like, all right, let me do these keys.
And that's right.
On it, but
it wasn't that Intel came out with it. They knew about it for 6 months, but the Linux community actually discovered it because they noticed some patches that were going into the Linux kernel and was like, what is this for? And then they're like, oh, wow, that's a really big problem.
Yeah, so just forget that the company's trying to fix the issue before anyone knows about it. Let's just expose that while we're at it. But so that's kind of what I was getting at, but I just didn't remember the story. So.
Yeah. I mean, but they still haven't fixed it all the way. So.
Well, they probably wouldn't need to if people would be looking for the vulnerability instead of looking through their patches for it. But anyway, never mind.
Well, yeah. I think it was some person that found it, though. So if they were able to figure it out from the patches that didn't work that they were putting in, then only a matter of time, I guess. But it has been vulnerable since 1996. So.
Oh, yeah.
AMD had some flaws as well, recently published. It didn't seem that interesting to me.
Well, see, I thought these things affected all platforms of processor. AMD, like everything x86 and ARM and like everything.
It does, but in slightly different ways. The Intel ones are the most vulnerable, especially because of their hyper-threading style and how they have caches for cores or something. The AMD ones are still vulnerable, but not as vulnerable because they split up pairs of cores for cache or something. And then the ARM ones I didn't know a whole lot about, but they're like on the least partial vulnerable, but they're all still partly vulnerable. And again, to me, it's kind of like a crapshoot one because you're reading excess memory, like on the processor. So you know how hard it is to find something in memory being a programmer, right? Like working with memory is not easy. So to find something randomly in memory It's like a little bit more difficult, and I feel like it's a
little bit,
nation
yeah.
state level thing.
It's a little bit more difficult, like when you even like the address to start at, and then even then it's like, oh well, just no, it's just not. And then what are you trying to find? I mean, like what kind of data structure is it you're looking for? So
Yeah.
that's a whole nother ball of wax, I think. And most of your malware peoples now, I mean, they're still, it's
Well, that's
not,
why I was saying I think
and
it's
generally
nation
it's,
state level stuff.
yeah, it has to, yeah, that's, yeah.
The one demo I saw about it was, so they typed in a password and stored it in memory, and then they ran the vulnerable code, and each time it ran, it was able to get one more bit out of the extra memory. So it was able to display the password stuff one letter at a time. And in that case, they already knew what they were looking for in that extra bit of memory at that specific spot. So
one bit is actually one letter after several four or eight times or more, but
yeah, not one bit as in computer bit, but one bit as in a bit of something.
A chunk
a bit
stuff,
of this,
a character, or a chunk of stuff.
I'm pretty sure a bit of this stuff was like, I think a bit of something was
a pinch
before
salt.
Computers ruined bit.
It was a bit of honey.
Yeah, that's been a phrase for a much longer time than computers, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's been a candy since before computers, I think.
Yeah.
Well, other sad news, possibly good news if you have small children, though. Toys R Us is closing every one of their US and UK stores after filing for bankruptcy.
Every one of them.
Yeah, if you have a Toys R Us, they are...
does that include Babies R Us?
I believe anything that's related to Toys R Us. I highly doubt that Babies R Us is doing great and Toys R Us is going down.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I could see one going because people still have babies like in the real world, not just online. They don't just order them from Amazon. So when you go, you want to like Proctor was talking about, you like to go put his hands on stuff in the store, right? Or well, I mean, but people want to go.
You still have to buy it in the
store. They do still have to buy it, but I mean, we're talking about things like furniture. Okay, you go buy it, and babies are well. Guess what? You don't. I mean, they'll assemble it for you if it's not already, or whatever. I mean, you don't have to have a box shipped to your house and then spend some time on it. So I don't know. I can see, and a lot of these items are larger. It's not like just So I can see Babies R Us staying afloat and Toys R Us going down because the kids are just whatever. Every toy that a kid wants, anyways, it's a digital download. So
yeah,
it's not even like a toy that they get shipped. So
did they have a lot of furniture at Babies R Us? I've not been one in a long time.
Yeah, they have. I mean, and and you get the girls with the baby fevers and stuff. They want the stuff for the baby as quick as they want the baby. So there's that instant gratification of getting it in the truck. But I don't know. Then again, if they're still technically the same company, I can easily see one bringing the other down if it's anything like that,
Yeah, that's what I would assume. Did he hear us again?
I don't know. I hear him grunting.
Yeah, I did too. Maybe not. No, he muted us. He didn't mute himself. All right. Well, anyway, I only got one other small thing. And I already told Nick about this yesterday.
Oh, then I'm going to tune out.
The AR version of Street Fighter 2. And Nick informed me that that's not lag. That's the speed that Street Fighter 2 worked at prior to Street Fighter 2 Turbo coming out.
Correct. That is the speed of the original Street Fighter 2. I'm telling you.
And
Yeah.
I thought it was a cool idea, and I've always been a big fan of AR coming into games. So
like that, like that. The jump is like the Air Jordan, in the air thing from back in the day. It's like that. Yeah, that'll be cool.
You get to choose your own stages, and I think this was programmed by just some random person, so obviously won't probably come out because of copyright issues for everyone to play. But kind of shows you some more of the ideas of how AR could interact.
It certainly looked interesting. I mean, it certainly looked fun. I mean, no doubt they probably couldn't make a Street Fighter 2 Turbo augmented because of mixed or whatever, because of the what you were talking about, getting this phones network together and all that stuff. But
I would think the lag was like, when I saw it, I figured that was lag, but Nick said that was actually normal speed of the game.
Yeah, so no, it's only lag if I get hit without blocking. Like if you give it, I get hit, and that's lag, especially as slow as it already is. Then that's a problem. You're telling me if the fireball knocks me down, so it takes instead of that, it's not going to work. Yeah, it's lag.
Input lag when it was on the original device. Input lag.
Sure. Yeah. So I got stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna say, did you find any of the stuff that you were talking about you had?
No, I don't ever look for these things. I had a couple of random tech things, and I was gonna say about D7X. I guess I can start with the random tech stuff. The camera, my Galaxy camera with Android. So I removed, I had said, like, I forget what happened, and the version of Android that was on it just quit. It just like it wouldn't work. It didn't. I don't even remember the problem now. I'm gonna have to go look through old shows. But it didn't work for like a year or so, and I just didn't have time to mess with it, and I couldn't get it to work. And so I had updated the version of Android on it. Well, then it was just too slow to do anything. Yeah, just nothing worked. Just nothing worked. So eventually, what happened was I the other day got down to it, and I was like, all right, because like you go to Zoom, and I mean, or take a picture or something sometimes. I mean, you can forget it 5 minutes after it turns on. You can just forget it. But so many things, it's like 3 or 4 pictures later, it'll start zooming, or it doesn't snap the picture for like a minute, So forget the thing you were trying to take a picture of. Well, I removed Google Drive, which was doing the sync, on it. And so after removing Google Drive and replacing it with OneDrive, it is blazingly fast. I mean, it's just like it was when I bought it. Although I've got to say I can't actually get OneDrive to log into my account. That's another story.
Because it's not syncing at all. It's blazing.
But see, even with the sync off and Google Drive and everything on, like it just, even when I would disable that, it was still impossible to use, And now you turn it on and it's ready to go. It's amazing. And you click the button and it works. So no, it's still like it wasn't, but even wasn't syncing before. I would have the sync off, and I would force stop on Google Drive and Google Photos and stuff. But I got rid of all of that, Google Photos and Drive. It was specifically Google Photos. I'm sorry, I was saying Google Drive. Specifically Google Photos. Got rid of that, and it's just been a dream.
Nice. Well, I know Google Photos does a lot of the syncing to Google Drive stuff too, so that's probably both a little bit.
Well, that should be on the other end, But they get rid of that. I also got rid of okay, I can't say it was 100% Google Photos, but I think most of it was, because I did do some testing in between this before I actually got rid of Photos. But I also got rid of Chrome and it didn't actually put it back. I don't. It's really good that it didn't, because being a Samsung, it wants you to have all of these apps on there that you can't do anything about, and they keep coming back. But
I was just about
it
to
didn't
ask, were
actually
those-
reinstall YouTube. I got rid of YouTube. It did not reinstall it. I was really surprised. I've got it down to like a half dozen Samsung apps, and like about the same number of Google apps that absolutely have to. It won't, and then the rest, everything else is gone, and then like OneDrive for the
Do you have it rooted?
I had to at some point, but you can't get the thing to work. Like you have to use the Samsung thing, Android, and even the Android that's on there now is the Samsung Android that came on. I don't know. Like they never officially released it, or so, I don't know. I found it somewhere. I had to root it to get it on there, but it's the Samsung Android. So it's not, but it's not the one that came on it, and I'm not even, I don't know. But anyway, I'm happier now. All I need to do, I've just kind of neglected messing with it because I was wanting to change that account password.
Is it just the Galaxy camera, or is it the Galaxy Camera 2?
It is the 2, I think. But there are several editions of that. There's more than just the 1. It might not be the 2, actually. Whichever it was, there's several editions of it there.
Yeah,
I thought it doesn't say the 2, but I'm pretty sure it says the 2 in some firmware or something. I did check, and OneDrive is supported on this version of Android.
I'd heard that Android or OneDrive had issues with older versions of Android too, so that might be.
Yeah, and yet it supports like versions before this right now. But gosh, I turn it on and it's on. Bang. What? Huh? How did that happen? The thing is already out. That would take like 5 minutes before. So, okay, that's the first thing. The second thing is Windows Video. And now at first I thought it was my power management, and I haven't really tested with this, but I was messing with my power management the other day. And we've been talking about, I have that dynamic lock. So when I leave with my parent phone on Bluetooth and I leave, and then, it locks workstation. Well, it's been locking workstation sooner, and it didn't occur to me for a while that maybe shutting off, maybe having the wireless adapter, which has the Bluetooth as part of it, going to low power mode sooner is causing it to go to low power mode while it's still connected to the thing, which then triggers dynamic lock.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing. So that's the first, because I've noticed it's happened, when I don't leave the room now. Like if I go lay in bed for a while, and I'll look over and the screen just goes, I'm like, what? It just locked. and then the first time I was like, who's at my computer? Like who's logged into my computer? Oh no, do I have RDP? And I ran over, I'm looking for logins and security log and stuff. Well, so that's all well and good. And I was like, oh yeah, it's a power management thing, probably. And sure enough, I have it set for whatever minutes. But then I go, I was watching something in the video app because I'm really lazy and I need to do something automated. But I've been lazy about resetting some of my, default settings after some Windows updates, So it goes back to like the video.ui app. And so it's playing in the video. I just got kind of lazy about it, and I was watching something. And then I get up and I went to the bathroom. And I come back from the bathroom, my workstation is locked. And the video was over, and I got up and went. And I come back and the workstation is locked. Well, I didn't even take my phone with me. It hadn't been 10 minutes. It was, like 1 minute. And that's weird. So, log back in. Then I go over, like, later on, I go lay down, and I had the video. I'd watched something that was on. And I think it was probably the same, like, I hadn't watched this lately. I just was doing other things, from the login. And didn't even watch anything, so I went and lay down. Sure enough, like a minute after I leave the workstation, all of the screens go black, and then they come back, and then I see the lock screen, and then like I see the login, my face and everything right there, and then it disappears, and the screen kind of jumps up and down a little bit, and then it comes back, and then the monitors all go black. And I was like, all right, now something's up, and I come back and I'm looking through the security log. Well, the video app is crashing.
And it's causing it to log out.
It's like crashing when I leave the workstation if the video app is running and has played something, and then I'm not doing anything actively on the computer. I can just sit here and watch it, and then like a minute, it'll lock the workstation, and it does it so weirdly. It's like because I'll have to do it again to get it all in my head. I'll have to do a video or something, because it's not just like, oh, it goes right to the lock screen. It's like the monitor's cut off, and then it's like something weird's going on there. And I was like,
that is fairly weird.
Yeah. So that's my other weird usage of the week.
I have noticed whenever my monitors go to sleep, which is like after 4 or 5 hours, whatever the longest you can have it do that at. Whenever I come back, the 2 TVs I have actually turn off, because when the low power mode goes in, they're not getting signal, and after a certain while, the TVs, when no signal is detected, turn off. The monitors themselves are in sleep mode, but when I turn the TVs back on and bring the computer back to show the displays again, all of my windows have been consolidated to the single TV monitor. So I'm not sure why that happens, but I thought it was weird. Because I would think that it would split up between the 2 monitors, because those are the only ones that are technically still powered on.
Yeah.
But for some reason, it all goes to my primary desktop. Like all of my windows will just sort into the primary desktop. And what's even weirder is it only does it on the virtual desktop that I'm on. If I switch to one of my other virtual desktops, the windows are all where they should be.
Well, now you know what to do before you leave. Just do everything on the one virtual desktop on the one monitor. Switch to that all the time. I spent, that's actually kind of a fortunate thing, because it could be a virtual desktop thing for me, but I've had a lot of issues where, okay, the monitor gets disconnected. And my cables are stretched out pretty far, because four monitor rig, 324s, and the one is in portrait mode, and the system's down here on the floor. My cables just aren't that long, Yeah. I mean, they're only so long, especially when you want them to run up or under the desk and like are out of foot range. And so it happened, and the desk is slidey too, so that's another thing. But so I have like this one going out a lot, or something. But when that happens, like things that are supposed to be on that monitor stay on that monitor. Like I can reboot and open the app again, and it's still on that monitor. And I have to. I'm like, no, I gotta get this monitor back so I can get the app over, because I can't do all the.
And see, I actually appreciate the opening it on the same monitor feature in Windows 10, though.
Well, I do and I don't. But and what I'm specifically talking about, I was not running Window Manager at the time. And I'm not sure if it's Windows 10 or what, but my Window Manager is not working 100% right now. Of course, I did just update it. But Windows 10 doesn't work worth a crap for me either. Like, it's okay. I guess. But I mean, there are so many things that it doesn't do. It's like our full tool. I have to put like that remembers window position. Like I had to implement that again the other day because, and I happen to notice, oh wow, it does support multiple monitors. I didn't even realize that it did that. But I have to do that because like nothing works with it properly. I don't know. It's like, what's the problem, Windows 10? So I don't know. But those are my things. I guess those are my other technology things. I wanted to bring up D7X Device Manager, but I didn't actually look at it, so you know about as much about it as I do.
Mm-hmm.
I just know on the first show of the week when I was catching up over breakfast, it was not. I was missing that device ID thing, and I'm just going to have to go back and.
Well, no, that I was going to bring it up to you was that they said Futures Tech Crew said that they could find the device ID there, but that's not the application style I was looking for, because even with the device ID, it's hard to identify the device sometimes.
Well, it Googles it, but it also, there was a Google option, but I can't even find it right now. Where's it at? And so normally I only see it when the alert pops up that there's an issue.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, do I have it in the menus at all?
I was going to say, I think it is only when you have an issue that you can get to it there.
Yeah. Well, dang. Okay. I guess it's not in the menus. It's just when it has an. So, all right, I might have to do something about that. But I swear that there is it also plugs it in like to a website that is designed for driver ID lookups. I mean, which is yes or no, maybe or maybe not. But I don't know, how much better can you get?
Well,
I mean, yes, you can, but
I was going to say
how much time
the
can you put into it?
software.
I don't even know where to find the feature right now in D7. How much time do I have to put into it anyway?
The software side of it, doing it in software, is a little bit better if, like, you're trying to figure out, hey, what's the Ethernet driver or wireless adapter driver, and you can't get to a website for it. So,
well, I guess for like that, but you're gonna bring it up like that,
I mean,
But I mean, are you not using a little USB plug-in job for the NIC like we always used that never needed a driver for anything? Y'all don't tell me y'all don't use those.
they might not be. It was highly recommended, though. Those are excellent ways to do that.
I do not know where my favorite one is that was completely driverless. But oh well. I think it worked. It like worked in XP with no service pack. I think it needed a driver for 2000, and I'm not even sure about that. It was for a USB NIC. That's really rare, actually. But it's like, really? Well, my other thing was I don't know. There was maybe something else messed up, but my other thing was I figured out. So Proctor said that PC repair tracker uploading people's, of course, they're bombing now. Okay, before the world ends, the PC repair tracker upload people's were the zip reports before upload in session or under the what is that, servers right now, that's self-hosted, move reports to FTP. So that has to, of course, you have to zip the reports in your config. Well, they were uploading and with a computer name in them instead of the customer's name, client name. And so someone had this problem, and Proctor said, "No, we don't have this problem." And I was like, "Yeah, I didn't think so. I thought I specifically fixed that." And this other guy's like, "No, you have this problem. It's with this version, whatever." Well, as it turns out, I'm just going to say this about that and about an awful lot of other things. And I really need to remember this. In fact, I think I just need to document this. In fact, I think anytime someone does anything or submits a bug report, this is going to have to be a thing. don't test a feature from a tech bench computer. And by, like, if it's configured in D7, D7.2, D7X as a tech PC in the config where it adds the computer name to a list. And if it's on that list, it's a tech PC. And if it's your tech PC, certain things do and don't happen. It doesn't check for updates or something. I don't know. Like, there's a list of things, right? I can't even think of right now. But don't test on that, like, and expect things to work like you would expect them to work on a production system, because that is designed more for like your offline usage. And so if you're offline, well, are you the client name that's already, so like the way it happens now is I can duplicate this behavior. I have the client name from start session. Start session prompt doesn't even show up, right, on a tech PC. That's one thing. When you do start the session, if you click on the name number label and the start session prompt shows up, you can put in the customer's name, and you can save it. But when you go to upload those reports, it's still going to use the computer name. That's because all of this stuff is disregarded because it's an offline whatever. Now, yes, there are things I can put in there for the specific offline usage and just kind of maybe clear that up or whatever. But this just is showing you, don't test from a tech PC. Just don't do it. I mean, because you're not really, you would never do that from a tech PC. And the idea here is, on a tech PC, you may have a whole folder full of reports, from working all day on the benches. Maybe you're on site. Maybe you didn't have internet access, so something wasn't uploaded. The folder with all the reports is saved. You get back to, the shop or wherever, you're back on the tech PC. Now you've got a dozen folders. You don't know it doesn't know currently. And this was another thing that I was like, oh yeah, I should implement that. Saving the client name with the reports in a separate, easy to get to kind of file. Mm-hmm. But currently what happens is when you have and you're on a tech PC, just like you have any other reports directories that aren't part of that current report. So that report profile, that session profile for the reports. So once you end the session, that reports directory is gone. There's a new one created because you're in a new session. So you can have these multiple reports directories on the same system if you keep starting and ending sessions for whatever reason. But when you do that, only the current client name for the system and the current report directory are going to match up. So that's all that's going to be substituted. Otherwise, all those other report directories, it uses the computer name. And yeah, it still uploads. You in PC Repair Tracker would then need to go, oh, okay, desktop PC -34579. That was so-and-so. You're really just going to look at the timestamp, I guess, is the thing. And then the guy's other thing was, well, when it's uploading as a zip file, the timestamp is in it twice, and I might add in slightly different formats. But that is a straight up byproduct of the checkbox that uses the time as your ticket number on the session start prompt, which I also might add, because the timestamp is going to be added regardless. And so I also might add that so when you do that, it will double timestamp it with the PC name in the middle on a tech PC. When you're doing this on a tech PC, if you're not doing it on a tech PC, you'll have your normal ticket number if you have one, or a timestamp, and you'll have your client name in a production environment, but not on a tech PC. There are so many other things that we've tested, and just in case you guys, anyone happens to be paying attention at this point, the tech PC, since all the interesting news is gone, that is in, gosh, where is that? Let's see, reports, no, browsers, no, OS customization, no. Servers and email, no. Admin, it's in admin in the config admin tab, right under the button where you can change your license data. There's technician PCs / virtual machines section, and then you can add and remove there. So I actually need to get back to this guy and tell him we're using the tech PC and stop testing on the tech PC, and then you'll know it actually does work. So, but it's sometimes kind of frustrating because I get an awful lot of issues that I spend a bit of time on. Then I realize, oh, they're on a tech PC. They're configured that way.
Well,
And so,
can I tell you what you told me about that setting when I first started working with you?
what?
Like on as Foolish IT or D Support Online at the time. You said that setting does a lot. I don't know what it does.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
But this is what the idea was for it. So it probably does a lot with that.
Mm-hmm.
So just keep that in mind.
It's to say it, and it's supposed to save you from a little inconvenience here and there when you know you're not working on a customer system. That's the point of it. So just, I guess, don't use it if you're going to be testing on the PC. It's not the customer's PC, or just any general testing of a feature. I do need to go through and pare down like an actual list of stuff, and I started to do it, and then I got distracted.
Yeah.
But in any case, and there are some things I do want to change behavior on and whatnot. So, that's all pending. But that's that. So that's a problem that doesn't actually need to be fixed, but I need to tell people that it doesn't need to be fixed. And then let's see, offline tab. Oh, Futures Tech Crew. I don't know how, and y'all didn't bring it up to them, and I don't know how they're using a version 17 anything, because that was last year, and there's been a number of updates since, and it should automatically update itself. There was a version 17 something that wouldn't do that, and maybe that's what they're stuck on. But y'all go to the website. Everything is version 18 dot something. It ought to be 18.2.3.0 right now. Actually, while we were setting up the show, I finished what I would like to release as 18.3.15.0. But that there's still one more kind of minor thing I was wanting to look into, and it was specifically making a prompt when there's no client name versus a computer name when you upload a report, as like prompting the user. But I think I'm just going to skip that, because that could open up a whole nother can of worms, and you know how I am. Mm-hmm. So I've already opened up 3 cans of worms since I should have released this update 4 weeks ago. So the last worm is now resolved. There's a new RDT, new D7X RDT, although I think I'm going to open up yet another can of worms with that. So I wouldn't, go out of my way to get it. But the new code, the last feature that I put in the no code, speaking of people emailing support and submitting debug things and all this, I had this one guy, and there's this PDF, and he's got 22 steps of updating D7.2, and it's not even the last version of D7.2. It's like a slightly older than the last version of D7.2, like 2 releases before that. And then so he's got like these 22 steps, and then these pictures, and this PDF, and this all these things, and apparently it's a consistent issue for him what he's doing. Well, I don't know why he's consistently trying to update D7.2. Just once you've done it, you've done
steps.
it. Yeah. I know, and once you've done it, you've done it. So stop doing it again. But he's also got a technician password that is different in one of the configs he's downloading, and that's causing some additional troubles. Mm-hmm. Well, he's not the only person. There's a reason why it's plastered all over the manual right now. And it's always been a problem. And see, some people are thinking it's a new problem. Well, it's a new problem because you're trying to do a fresh install or a fresh download. In this guy's case, no. So it's a bad example. But most of the people that I've run across, they're trying to set up a fresh registration of D7X instead of doing an update. And when they do that, then they also but then they want their config, you know. So instead of updating, you're going to do a fresh registration, and they're going to. And here's the thing: you're going to put in a different technician password. A lot of people don't even remember it. A lot of people have been using. I've seen this a lot. They've not even questioned it. They've just used the account password again. That's happened. And then some people have just misremembered. But it gets, so it's starting to get a little frustrating, but because the symptoms are all the same.
Mm-hmm.
And so the release now will tell you that it was a bad password when it fails the extraction. The release that's out there currently will tell you that there was a successful download of a config, but it couldn't extract it. So what's going to happen now is it's going to say that message still exists, but really should never pop unless there's an actually corrupted file. But now it should tell you bad password and offer a prompt for you to fix it.
Nice.
Yeah, which will save this other guy with the PDF like 10 steps.
Nice.
Of the way he was doing it, but he also didn't realize it was password. But so, and that goes for people using like the RDT remote deployment tool, and they're getting a profile, and it's like, oh well, I use my RDT, and then it asks me to register. I can't be registered on every system I work on remotely. Well, no, you can't, because you need to use the same password. Frankly, I had always done that, the tech password that we don't know and we don't want to know. I'd always done that for config encrypting because I don't want your information. At first, it was very privacy oriented in that way. I'm thinking actually about scrapping that and just silently rewriting everyone's as it comes along to the same thing that no one knows but me. I'm considering it, but in the meantime, the current releases that will go out, this has to be, it really only has to be supported in the main D7X binary. So I could probably release that without the new RDT, but it does some new stuff too, although it's kind of all under the hoodish. So I did want to add that hosted download for the RDT, where you can host your own D7X files.
Mm-hmm.
And that is going to require actually probably just putting in some boxes in the RDT, but I need to do a little more code on D7 because I want to create that using a password that you don't know. So I'll have it'll create the D7X files and I'll encrypt those, and you can just throw them up on your website. But it's, it'll be like you won't be able to open the archive. We will, kind of thing. But it'll just be our files. And actually, the reason for that is part of what the RDT is doing right now is getting, which this is a new feature that I've already gotten. I've just tested in the RDT and I'm ready to release, is the download of all of our binaries inside like 3 nested levels of archive that are encrypted. Therefore, antivirus won't mess with them.
Mm-hmm.
At least until they're extracted. At least until the binary hits the file system by itself. But there won't be any messing with it in transit from now on, at the very least, from UTM appliances and other things, whatever. And AVs usually by default only scan 2 levels deep, but they also can't decrypt what they can't decrypt. So that's another thing. So that'll be neat. Those are new features there. And that's actually ready to go. The show kind of, yeah. I finished it when we were setting up. That's why I was late setting up.
Sweet.
I think that's it for now.
I do have one more thing I want to note. I saw earlier that AJ uses Cloudberry via Ninja RMM, which Cloudberry is the one that Shri, Futures Tech Shri, recommended as a backup solution. And he also said that it's not nearly as good as Max Backup. I haven't tried out either of those, but I was looking for a different backup solution since the Windows one seemed to be having some kind of trouble with my app data, which I believe is related to Chrome storing everything in app data. But
it's probably isn't part of it running from app data too?
all of it's running from app data. Everything
yeah.
for Chrome is in app data.
Is that where all these developers are learning it from? That's not supposed. You're not supposed to do that.
I completely agree, and I'm not sure why. But however, the way Chrome does it, if all of the stuff that's probably a problem would be technically application data, so it would still be there for that user profile, even if Chrome's exe was in the program file. So I still hate the fact that Chrome installs to app data, yes, but most of the crap that's there would end up being application data anyway, so I'd still have the problem. But I found a open source client server backup system that I'm probably going to try out on my backup server this weekend. It's called UR Backup, and I'm going to see how that goes and see if I can recommend that. Looks pretty interesting. Looks like it may use volume shadow copy stuff still, but it does do deduplication across all backups. Does do incremental and full image backups as well. So I'm going to check it out, see how it goes, and what it looks like, and if it works. Because you're still using Crash Plan, right?
You know it.
Yeah.
You know it.
And since they're only business option now, I wanted to see if I could find something.
Yeah, you know, they don't even have pricing on. It's like contact us for pricing.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Yeah, I looked at their site and I was like, I think I'll look for something else.
I wanted to recommend it to someone else, and I was like, contact us for price. And whoever I sent there was like, oh, they recommend Carbonite, and I was like, well, they shouldn't. You know, it's like that they went from my favorite backup company to like my most hated company that gives recommendations.
Yeah, I don't know who in the world would recommend.
They got paid. They got paid. They have the apps. They have bar none the best backup software there was, and the free edition even allowed you. I mean, and you always had to sign up. You got the free month. Had to cancel, but you always got to use that free edition software. And I could give you the software, and we could back up to each other as a cloud. You know, we could all back up. All three of us could back up to each other as a cloud, and that was free if you didn't use their servers. And the software is awesome. I will point out that it doesn't use VSS admin like so many other things do. Which is in one of my most recent blog posts. All those crypto prevent queries, and so I don't know why like all the big dogs still use it, but they're lazy. I think I've cut that out of the post, but they're lazy in my opinion. They need to get on it, get with the program. So I don't know why Crash Plan would recommend, because they've got the best rep, and then Carbonite has like the worst rep, and they've done every major mistake. They've made every major mistake with data integrity, with their software, with their customers, you know, data and security and leaks, and they've done everything wrong except advertising and paying Crash Plan apparently. So anyway, I'm just letting y'all know. I mean, and my opinion comes strictly from never use Carbonite. My opinion comes strictly from every single news article I've ever read about where they've messed up and why and affected people. Granted, I guess you could say that was the past, right? To be fair.
So I don't know if this one uses, it says it uses the volume shadow copy service. So I assume that's going through the API and not BSS admin. But it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, that would be interesting to see. I mean, technically, the API uses the service, but so does the executable.
Yeah. Well, I'm interested to see because it's open source and it looks like it's designed primarily for Windows and then alternatively for other sources. So, like on its site, Windows client, Windows Server are the two primary options, and then other downloads include Mac, Linux, and etc. So, if it's focused on Windows and that's what I'm primarily backing up, I'll be interested to see how it works out. But
you know, another cool thing about Crash Plan, completely unrelated. I don't even know if it's in the business client software right now. I'm gonna have to look. I don't know, but they had an Easter egg that was almost required for certain things. Like if you had, I fit this category, so I had to do some command line stuff to adjust some memory settings and some usage and whatever it had. And it was like you had to like double click on their logo, and then it just popped up like a little command line console thing that you could type in commands to interface with the software. That was really neat.
Nice.
Yeah. Nothing doing, does it or not? It's probably different. The new one's way different, the business one. It's like more simple, which is annoying actually. That annoys me. The home software, the more like the older, it seemed like it was like more options or more, it was easier to see options.
Oh, and I forgot to mention on Tuesday that Tuesday was Windows Update Day, so if you haven't updated, update.
It was yesterday for me. I don't get I guess however they're rolling out now. I didn't get to.
I think they do it sporadically over Tuesday night because I usually don't get them till random time.
Yeah, I remember you told me like yesterday evening. I forget what time it was. Well, after you told me that, I went to Windows Update and it was like, "No, you're up to date. Last checked like 5:47 p.m." I'm like, "Oh, you're a liar."
Yeah. Because there was 4 updates.
Like who's lying?
Windows 10.
And then today I felt like updating. Or I felt like restarting. I felt like rebooting. I'm sorry. I felt like rebooting. So I rebooted, and I noticed I had a couple of apps that needed to update. One was Window Manager, a couple other things. And I was like, all right, I'll do some little updates. And I was like, all right, everything up. Headset firmware had to update. And I was like, all right, I'll go ahead and do that. And then it gets confused with the 2 headsets attached, so that you always have to unplug one and then do it, and then plug the other one in. And so then I got everything ready to roll this morning. I was like, all right, ready to work. And then Windows is like, boom, we need to restart sometime. Like, you're crapping me. It's Thursday. You said last night there was not a problem. And then I got angry, and I don't know. Well, you know how that works.
Did you reboot after that?
I did.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it knows I still have, it still honors my active hours settings right now. It's the max or whatever, but I was like, yeah, I'll go ahead and do this.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and wrap her up, I guess. We'll alert Proctor.
Yeah. Enhance.
So we'll wrap up now. Thanks everyone for watching. We'll be back on Tuesday at 10 a.m. and hope you have a great weekend.
Bye everybody. Have fun storming the castle.